What I'm looking for in a bank is one that's looking out for me, like NBT. I want a relationship and a team that supports me in my dreams. And when life gets challenging, I need a bank that's focused on what matters. Not to mention one that's been top-rated by Forbes in trust, customer service, financial advice, and more. That's why when it comes to meeting my banking needs, it's always NBT. Learn more at nbtbank.com. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome and thanks for tuning in. This is Tom Hickey from 2020 Media, and you are listening to NBT Bank's On the Scene podcast, which reaches over 250,000 readers of the Jewish Ledger, weha.com, and West Hartford Magazine, live 24/7, 365. Today, as always, I am joined by my partner in crime, Bob Carr. And Bob does a great job introducing. Actually, Bob, you did a better job of introducing our last guest than I did at the actual real event. So I should be quoting what you said. Yeah.
Pressure.
So here's Bob.
All right. So Tom Hickey, thank you very much, Tom. That's Tom with along with myself and Kosi Makati and Ronnie Newton, owner and founder of weha.com. That's we-ha.com. As mentioned, Tom is also owner of 2020 Media, and he brings to West Hartford Magazine, Connecticut Jewish Ledger, various tastes of West Hartford, best of West Hartford, and our 10th year anniversary of that is coming up, along with a whole bunch of other fun stuff during the year, which he just mentioned moments ago.
Yeah,
so,
last week was a psychic medium, which we have never done before. So you just never know.
Never know we're gonna bring into West Hartford. Yeah. I also want to just quickly thank Eric Lopkin from the Modern Observer Group. Eric does drops in the ads and cleans this up and puts us up onto Apple and Spotify. And I thought we should throw thanks to him. He's done a great job for us.
Eric makes it look like we know what we're doing, right?
Absolutely. Exactly right.
All good.
So our guest today, Dr. Rick Liftig. Dr. Rick was a DDS in West Hartford for more than 44 years. He's a ham radio operator. Been doing that for almost.
I didn't know. Oh, yeah.
His entire life. We had a conversation about that just the other day. Is the president of the Elmwood Business Association. Has been a member there for 25 years, or you've been president for 25 years, Dr. Rick?
President for 25 years.
Whoa, like a dictator over there.
But no, I've got a co-president, Aldo Carducci of AC Automotive, and it's been very fruitful because it's good to have somebody who's in the mix, and Aldo brings a whole group of new people into our group. Elmwood is a very diverse business population. But good morning, Tom. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. We'll start with that. Do you want to just give us a little background on Elmwood and what the diversity is there?
Well, there goes our half hour.
There you go.
I can talk about Elmwood for hours. My dad practiced in Elmwood starting in 1952. I joined him in 1980 and then just retired in 2021. We've been part of the Elmwood community for, I figured it out, it was 69 years. It's pretty darn incredible. Mm. What I love about Elmwood is not only the diversity of its businesses, but the diversity of the people. And West Hartford has a reputation, as we all know, of being a slightly snobby town. And that's not West Hartford at all. There is a small box of people who may think very highly of themselves, but it's a very diverse town. And there are a lot of people who live in small capes and ranches and all throughout town. And they're highly productive, wonderful people with full lives. They may not be in the legislature, although some of them have been. But they make up a really wonderful fabric in the town. And now in Elmwood, of course, we have a tremendous immigrant population coming through, as we do in the northern part of town. So one of our biggest immigrant groups right now are Nepalis, people from Nepal, who started coming here around the year 2000. And it gives me great hope because through my time practicing, I realized that the dream is still alive, that just as when my family came over in the 1880s and 1890s, people still come to this country to escape their oppression and they make a life. And it is just really, really cool. So similarly, the businesses in Elmwood are extremely diverse. You've got lower rents, you've got different ethnicities, you have different uses. So where an auto body shop in the center might be something that's frowned upon, we have auto body shops. We have small little warehouses. We have pop-ups that suddenly wow you. Ronnie had an article just this week about a little pop-up in Talcott Road that has booths for small vendors. This is wild. Or 485 New Park's a similar one.
Yeah. And Rick, I loved the name of one of them. I forgot what it was exactly now, but it was something like, gorgeous junk or something. It was like whatever it was, but it was great. It was just, just let people poke around and look and see what they find.
Yeah. And we see these businesses coming and going all the time. I'm obviously a very big believer in small business. And when you run a small business, you really have an idea of what it takes to make things go. Whereas many people who receive a paycheck, if you do, I'm thankful that you do, really don't know what it takes to produce that paycheck and really don't know how much that paycheck costs.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely true. So I know Elmwood historically was an industrial section of West Hartford, and it still has a fair amount of industry there. So I think that's people don't recognize that as well, right? That the amount of industry that still exists in West Hartford, and much of it is in Elmwood.
Yeah, well, we still have Abbott Ball, LeGrand Wire Mold as the bigger corporations. I don't know if some of the steel companies are still hidden in there. We still have a bunch of tool and die companies around. Our chromium plating industry has sort of disappeared, but yeah, there's a lot of small shops. And Elmwood was actually the earliest part of West Hartford, which a lot of people don't know. And the oldest house in town is in Elmwood, the Sarah Whitman Hooker House.
Oh,
and New Britain Avenue was Route 6, main drag between Hartford, Farmington, and Hartford and Farmington were the established communities. And then Elmwood was along the way. So we lay claim.
Didn't it have something to do with pottery or brick or something? That's what I thought. Yeah.
Goodwin Pottery was on the site of where the old Puritan furniture was. That's about to be redeveloped. And they were a very widely known pottery shop. And I think Jeff Murray just wrote an article in WeHa about the clay industry in town. Because we also had tremendous number of brick makers over on New Park Avenue.
Mm-hmm. Wild. Unbelievable. And how about Colt? Does Colt fall into Elmwood area, or is it too far over by Home Depot?
All right. So you touched on a funny subject.
I'm sorry.
No. I'm a big fan of neighbors and friends in West Hartford. Okay. And I love checking in. So most recently somebody said, well, what are the limits of Elmwood?
Oh, geez.
And everybody chimed in. And typically, nobody knows what the heck they're talking about. They're all full of it.
Yeah.
So Elmwood, if you're from Elmwood, you know it. That's how I ended it. Right. Elmwood pretty much could have been defined by the old Elmwood Post Office, which was originally in the center of Elmwood on New Britain Avenue. It's now on Shield Street, but that's not Elmwood anymore. That's Shield Street. Yeah. So Elmwood, if you're from Elmwood, you know it. And that actually could be Elmwood. People can say it's the 06110 area. I don't know.
Yeah.
So if you think it's in Elmwood, it's in Elmwood.
Okay, got it. Now, I'm curious, where was the old post office on New Britain Avenue?
So there were two places. There was one, I'm pretty sure it was near my dad's old office at 1125 New Britain Avenue, which is the corner of South Quaker Lane and New Britain Avenue. Okay. I'm not quite sure which. Let's ask Jeff Murray.
Yeah, right.
Then it was where the Sherwin-Williams painting.
I do remember that. Yes.
It was there for many years. Yeah. And then they moved to Shield Street. And
yeah.
I don't mean to
found out the other day talking about post offices. that Shield Street now is really West Hartford's main post office.
Yes.
Because everything goes from Bishop's Corner and West Hartford Center to Shield Street, which I did not know. Because someone said to me, if you want a piece of mail, I hope I'm not misspeaking here, but if you want a piece of mail to get out, you're better off bringing it by 5 o'clock to the Shield Street post office, as opposed to putting it in at 5 o'clock on, say, Bishop's Corner or LaSalle Road.
Well, it's probably true, but the way the postal service works.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if that's accurate.
Well, they're centers. They have their different centers, and pieces move through certain stuff. So, I know, having grown up in a different part of New York State, living in Brooklyn, we all knew our neighborhoods. We all knew our neighborhoods where we were from, and we knew the definition of where the next neighborhood was. But now with real estate agents changing names and creating names, it's always hard to say, right?
Yeah.
Where you actually live. I was going to ask you about the Rotary Club. I know that's something we want. That's how we ended up actually having a conversation last week, was the Rotary and the Vines of March. So we don't have to spend 30 minutes on Elmwood. We can spend a little time on what's coming up.
No, but I want to circle back to what you were saying about neighborhoods, Bob.
Sure, go ahead.
I'll just go back there before I go to the Rotary. We have a system in this country called zoning, which separates uses. And that was originally put in so that if you bought a house, you wouldn't have a junkyard put in next to you. But what we really should be thinking about are neighborhoods. And the reason I say this, and you touched on an interesting topic. My daughter lives in the Upper West Side. And what I've been amazed at when we visit there in Manhattan, with more people than you could ever imagine, every few blocks, it's a neighborhood. And it doesn't feel big. Everything's small in New York. Everybody thinks New York's so big. No, it's small. And it was just so cool. And I've realized that we have to think about neighborhoods when we're zoning, when we're doing developments, things like that. So again,
hitchhike onto that statement. A big fan of Charles Kuralt. And Kuralt said, "You don't live in New York City; you live in neighborhoods." And that's exactly true. Yeah, and it's true pretty much anywhere, right? Tom and I had on this podcast, we've discussed West Hartford and its various neighborhoods and where people live and how they live, and and you think in terms of the size of something, but really you only live in that space that you occupy and that you feel comfortable in.
The planners like calling it the 5-minute walk.
Yeah,
and,
good.
In New York, in a 5-minute walk, you've got everything you need, really. And it's just, I really have come to appreciate New York City. I'm shocked. I'm shocked because I always looked at this big bad place. It's not. It's actually a very warm and welcoming place. And
well, I'll do a podcast someday on my experiences in New York, and I'll have you back on and we'll talk about that. It's my favorite place in the world.
But let me talk about Rotary.
That's it.
And I really appreciate you asking about that. I've been a member of West Hartford's Rotary for a long time now, and am president this year.
Of something else. Yay, right? Yeah.
Well, when you retire,
exactly.
It's nice if you retire to something. And when you're a small business owner, you're a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
You take out the garbage, you do the books, you stay late, you do this, you do that. And running a small service club is not too different than that. There's always something to be done.
We'll have him on someday soon, but the founder of APK Charities, one of the charities that we do a lot of work with, kept saying he was going to retire on the 10th anniversary, of when he had started the nonprofit, which was back in November or whatever. Well, his retirement lasted about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden he was, inundated with all these, you can't retire. We're going to do this, this, and this. So all of a sudden, he's
There's
back.
a job to be done.
You're working more now than you were before.
But you have the time, and you have the time to ponder, and you have the time to breathe. Where you're actually working for your money, you don't have time to breathe. But back to the Rotary.
Yep.
Rotary's been in existence for over 100 years. It was founded by 4 business people in Chicago back in 1915, actually 1908, sorry. And they decided they wanted to get together and do some good. And it grew from there. So Rotary has continued to be locally based clubs that do good for their community. And then we have a larger base throughout the world where some of our money goes to help projects throughout the world. For example, right now we're funding a dental clinic in Nukosi, Uganda, who Dr. Carolyn Malin has spurred that on. She's a resident of West Hartford, a very active Rotarian. And we also are partially sponsoring a water project in Panacay, Nicaragua. One of Rotary's big pushes has been getting rid of polio in the world. There are only 8 cases this last year, Afghanistan and Pakistan. We're hoping by 2026 there'll be no polio in the world due to Rotary. The Rotary has this giant foundation. It's worth a few billion, and that money is used throughout the world. And here's the funny thing about how that works. Since there are Rotary clubs throughout the world, if there's been a problem, let's say a landslide in Nicaragua, which did happen about 20 years ago, and our club wanted to help, we send money directly to that club. Totally avoids the government. And it gets into the hands of people who are generally business and community leaders. They know how to handle the money, and they know who needs the money. So we get rid of the bureaucracy. And that is really cool. On the local level, we have a lot of we have a lot of ability to use our money where it's needed. We don't have a lot of paperwork. We have a small board. And so we may have someone who comes to us and said, we could really use money to start up this program. So he said, well, you know, we're going to meet as a board. We meet as a board and say, well, what do you think? And, you know, the board might come out and say, yeah, I think we can give them $1,500. Where this was really just blew me away. Personally, I had been storing the West Hartford Special Olympics gear in the basement of my dental office for some years. And in 2019, I walked in on a Monday and I hear the sound of running water. And I said, oh, that's not in my office. And I'm listening and it sounds like it's coming from Dr. Romack's office next door. And I said, no, I'm not going to go in there just yet. Let me just go check the basement. Maybe it's coming from the basement. And I opened the hatch doors and there was water up to the 4th step. Oof. It's about 3.5, 4 feet of water in this basement. And I didn't even swear. I just said, oh my. Anyway, what had happened was all the Special Olympics gear was ruined. And that afternoon, I went to our Rotary Club meeting and I was telling everybody the story. And the treasurer and the president of the club pulled me aside and said, how much do you think they need? And I said, I don't know. You know, all the gear was wiped out. And I know they have a fall season coming up. And I said, well, how about a couple of $1,000s? I'm sure that'd be appreciated. Well, it turns out we saved the season.
Wow.
Because we were able to, we had the money on hand, we were able to help, and what a wonderful feeling that was. Right now, one of our biggest donations per year in the Rotary Club is the food bank, The Town That Cares, which also has other missions as a social service arm of our town government. Not only do they have a food bank, but they're able to give money to people who may need it in town, who may not be asking for it. So if a social worker, let's say, goes to Mrs. Smith's house, and Mrs. Smith may be widowed and may have a leak in her attic that she hasn't fixed, and they see that it's causing a problem, they can help. Or if Jason Kozlowski's son doesn't have boots, then the teacher mentions it, they can help. So it's a really great charity. Again, The Town That Cares, that which actually would make a great article for WeHa. So last year we had a food caravan. We're going to do that this year. We have we've just given them $7,500 with the help of Liberty Bank. And coming up, we do have slated $10,000 that we're going to buy $10,000 worth of groceries at Costco. And then we're going to have a food caravan. The police are going to escort us. And we're going to bring it over to Town Hall.
Very cool.
It's a lot of tuna.
And wouldn't it be great if somebody from Costco was listening or was tuned in? And I think Costco should match it, right? So you'd have $20,000.
Absolutely.
That would be nice.
No,
would
no
be nice.
pressure, Costco, but it's like,
So tell us about the Vines of March coming up. I don't want to.
No, that's important. So, we've got to raise the money somehow to do all this stuff. And for the 12th year in a row, we're going to have the Vines of March wine tasting and auction on March 2nd. And it's at Town Hall. It goes from 7 to 10:30. It's both a silent and a live auction. Adam Fishman from Harvey's Wine and Spirits at Bishop's Corner arranges with a whole bunch of distributors to bring wine and beer. This year, I've been pushing him to bring a non-alcoholic line there. I've become very enamored of a line of beer called Athletic Beer. It's brewed in Stratford, and it's the largest brewer in Connecticut right now.
oh my gosh.
And their beer tastes like beer, but it doesn't leave you fuzzy.
Yeah, it's right down the street from where I used to work. I worked in Stratford, and 2 rows was to the left, and Athletic was to the right, and they could choose. And Athletic was Friday night. I don't know if they're still open on Fridays. They were open on Fridays before the pandemic, and we'd go down. A buddy of mine would go down there, and so they had to ride a long ride home, and he had a long ride home, and we'd have a couple of NA beers, and they were excellent. They were, they are very, very good.
Yeah, so it's a great night, and we work very hard for it. There's going to be finger foods from restaurants throughout town, and we do quite well. Last year we made $50,000. This year our goal is higher.
Great.
And one of the great things that has helped us is the people and companies in West Hartford who sponsor us. So our lead sponsor is People's Bank. People's Bank has been very, very generous. NBT Bank, thank you, Andreas, has been very, very generous. Mangs Financial, Dave Mangs, the Rotary member, and also Morgan Stanley, Kyle Egress, our past president. Very, very, very giving groups, and we really appreciate it. It gets funneled
How
back.
much are tickets, and how do you get them?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So the tickets are $75 each. And if you go to the site, www.westhartfordrotary.org, there is a very large placard right in the front of it with a big click here for tickets.
Yeah.
And then there's click here for sponsors. We try and make it easy. It takes you to another page and you fill out your stuff. And we hope it's easy. And of course, if it isn't easy, I'm sure somebody will get in touch with me. We will try not to sell tickets at the door, and we try to do it all online. It just makes the accounting a heck of a lot simpler. That's gotten tricky these days.
Oh, absolutely. Very good.
So again, March 2nd.
That date again, it was Saturday, March 2nd.
Saturday, March 2nd at Town Hall.
Great, perfect. All right, so anybody who's listening and who's tuned in, now you know what you're going to be doing on Saturday, March 2nd. So
it's a great way to spend the night. And, it's really friendly people and a friendly atmosphere. And honestly, at this point in your life, if you're listening to this podcast, what else will you be doing on a Saturday night?
That's right. Absolutely right. And it's an early, right? It ends at 10:30, so you're not out all night long either.
That's right. That's right. And it's fun. So get out. The winter is long, and get out and enjoy it. And we hope you'll come and bid on the items. And I can assure you that all the money we raise goes to stuff around town pretty much, and we have little or no overhead, so it's a very efficient transfer of funds.
It's great.
I'm looking forward to going. I'm definitely looking forward to going on March 2nd. So
beautiful. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. As always, Dr. Rick, great to catch up and speak with you, and wonderful to hear a little bit more history about Elmwood. And for anyone who didn't know about the Rotary, you can even learn more by going to the Rotary's website, as Rick had mentioned. But most importantly, support their cause and come out on Saturday, March 2nd, and enjoy some finger food and wine and have some fun bidding on silent and live auction items. Again, this is Tom Hickey from 2020 Media. presenting NBT Banks, one of the Rotary's sponsors he had mentioned. So thank you, NBT Bank, on the Scene podcast. And just look for us anywhere you listen to your podcasts, and we will be listening for you as well. In the meantime, be safe and be well, and we'll join you again at your convenience. Talk to you soon. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on The Scene.
What I'm looking for in a bank is one that's looking out for me, like NBT. I want a relationship and a team that supports me in my dreams. And when life gets challenging, I need a bank that's focused on what matters. Not to mention one that's been top-rated by Forbes in trust, customer service, financial advice, and more. That's why when it comes to meeting my banking needs, it's always NBT. Learn more at nbtbank.com. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.